What's the truth about Steve Sarkisian? I'm of the opinion Sark's story is one of the most important in college football. One of the most important that's happened in sports for a while. If you think sports is an avenue or a reflection of life, which I do, or a reflection of society, I do, Sark's story is really important. I don't care if you're an Oklahoma fan or whatever. Sark's story is important because it's one of those classic stories or classic lessons that what was and has been doesn't always have to be forever. What is or was doesn't always have to be. Just meaning your past doesn't always have to define your future. Your current situation, not that Sark's is bad, but your current situation doesn't always have to define your future. Sark's entering, I think, his 12th year as a head coach, and it feels like the most important chapters of his career are still to come. I feel that way. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but who knows? He may have his best and most important seasons, most important chapters of his head coaching career to come. But here's why it's so important. So number one, his story extends well beyond football, obviously, but his story is one of someone who has so much brilliance about the way he sees this game and coaches this game. And he's also got so many public flaws as a person. And you wrap that all into one, and you've got a very, very bumpy career at times. I mean, the way it ended at USC was bad. It was ugly to the point where you're looking at it and you're saying, well, forget football. Like, is he going to be okay? Period. And then he goes to Alabama and sort of just hits reset on everything, has a brief stint with the Falcons, and like most stints with the Falcons, it doesn't work out well for anyone. And he goes back to Alabama and ends up being called almost like out of the bullpen after Kiffin gets fired the week of the title game, and he's the coordinator in the title game. And then they lose that one, and then later on he calls one of the best seasons I've ever seen for that 2020 run, and then he gets a shot. He gets another shot at Texas, which is wild. Last year when we were with him, I talked about this. He gave a really, really good response to this, by the way. I said, you realize you were at Washington, and then you went to USC, and you got fired, and then you start to work your way back up. But anyone whose career took that nosedive, even if they were going to get another shot at being a head coach, they would have had to work their way up. You go like an FCS or a G5, then a lower level P4, and then maybe you get a shot at Texas. But because of how brilliant he is when he's at his best, he gets a shot at Texas. And look how it's working out. That's why I say 12th year as a head coach, and he's been around football obviously a lot longer than that, could have his most important chapter still to come. But you know what? Given the nature of what he struggled with in the past, that's a forever issue in your life. Anyone who knows anything about that stuff will tell you it's never gone. It's always with you. It doesn't matter how good a run you're on, it's always there. And so it's impossible to know. I know what I root for with Steve Sarkisian's story because I think it's a really important story to tell. But the other part about that is not only did he go to Texas, unlike the previous few coaches that went there, it's starting to really, really, really work. So Texas is a machine right now. That's the truth about Texas. Texas is the gold standard for talent acquisition in the modern era of college football. They recruit very well. There is no one who has mastered the NIL game on a multi-layer basis better than Texas. You look at the NIL thing and you think, well, if you just got a bunch of money, well, there are a few programs out there with a bunch of money. Hey, quick time out. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. I'm telling you, it's surgical at Texas. Like, there's the psychology of this stuff, although it may seem like paint by numbers sometimes, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it does come down to who can pay the most. The layering and the nuance that Texas has made a fine art of figuring out about how to structure this stuff and how to present it and how to let you win and let you achieve on so many different levels, just above and beyond the pure monetary. They're the standard. They're the gold standard. That's not by accident. That's because he's hired the right people. He's got the right people in the building. They just had another round of hires where he's hiring people, and I'm like, I cannot believe that that Texas continues to pull this off because he's hiring people out there that, truth be told, should probably be running athletic departments or running football programs, not as a head coach, but player personnel types, GM types. They have, there's no way to know this because you can't necessarily project at this level like this, but you've probably got several future general manager types just walking the halls there in Austin, not to mention who's on the coaching staff. So that's a machine. Does not guarantee they'll ever win a national title. They could win 4 of them. I don't know. But in many, many ways, given the nature of the way the sport looks today, that guy has created the gold standard there. Did they lose to Georgia twice last year? They sure did. Sure did. Got spanked at home and then let a backup quarterback come in and beat him in Atlanta. So it's not a perfect coach. It's not a perfect program, but it's very much a machine-like program that I feel will continue to put itself in position every year, and eventually they'll grab the belt, which to me is all you can hope for. I felt the same way about Ryan Day for a while. He just continues to put his team and his program in position every year. He's on the second to highest rung of the ladder. He keeps reaching for the belt, but his opponent threw the powder in his eyes and he's blindfolded and he's reaching for it. He'll eventually find it. Now, you won't find it if you're standing on the third rung of the ladder because you're not tall enough. But if you get up to that second to top rung long enough and plan enough times, you'll eventually grab that belt. What I'm describing is SummerSlam 1998, that Intercontinental title ladder match. We all remember how that turned out. So that's the truth as I see it on Steve Sarkisian. As I see it. He is a Pate State Speaker Series Hall of Famer. Who knows? Could do business there in the future.